Today, we're getting an in-depth look at Bunny's 378 million power account. And with his over 50 special talented legendaries, let me tell you, this account is absolutely freaking stacked. So stick around in this video for a full look at his crazy city themes, commanders, equipment, and more. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today's video is sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms, and we're going to get a look at Bunny's insane account. Bunny is one of the more notorious players in Rise of Kingdoms. He's got 378 million power, but the number you really need to look at is right over here, 211 million dead, almost entirely T5 troops. That means he's got over 2 billion power worth of dead troops. That is insane. Bunny's highest power is 504 million power. He's got under 13 billion resources gathered, but 33 billion resource assistance. But more importantly, that 27 billion kill point number is pretty freaking legit. We can look at the breakdown here, but it's far more T5s than any other troop type and barely any T1s. And by the way, if you look at his pictures over here, some of these I can show, like, for example, this insane amount of dead troops from KVK. That's a lot of archers and cavalry. It's a good thing the Smash Squad came to 254, so all the infantry simps have arrived to the kingdom. But this picture is an oldie but goodie. English literature, I will die for honor. French literature, I will die for love. American literature, I will die for freedom. 254 literature, I will die. Welcome to 1254, baby. Let's get a look now at Bunny's equipment, and this is pretty insane. He's got 65 pieces of legendary equipment, assuming I added that up correctly, and 54 special talents. That's 3 cavalry sets, 2 infantry sets, and 3 archer sets. And what you'll see in just a moment is that a bunch of this equipment is actually from the crystal keys. I would assume some of that was forged really early on. So Bunny's been kind of done with his equipment for a very, very long time, with the exception of perhaps critting some accessories, which you'll see in just a minute. So he's got, for example, Milky Way, Navarre's Control, 3 of them, 2 Stone Grip Gauntlets. I think that's the Ian's Choice, Cape of the War God, 3 Ash of the Dawn, which is really good. Shio's Return. So a bunch of equipment that you can get from Crystal Key Special Talented. He's got 5 rings, 2 talented, cavalry and archers, 3 horns, 2 talented, cavalry and archers, talented dagger, cavalry, and 4 lucky coins, which, by the way, we can assume that the majority of those were made before there were any other legendary accessories even in the game. I guess there was technically maybe the one that you could get from the Barbarian Keeps, but whatever. Let's look at that equipment actually deployed, and let me show you some of the armament stats here. And these armament stats, keep in mind, they're about a week and a half old. Bunny sent me this footage: 3.6, 4.1, 4.8, and then 1.3 all damage on the cavalry stats. That's attack, defense, and health. I find that my marches, my best 3, are averaging maybe 7% of each stat, maybe a little bit of all damage to go with it. And that includes the inscriptions, by the way. There you can see Bunny's full crit iconic archer set. Not the KVK stuff, by the way. 3.1, 7.4, 1.9, 3.5 all damage on his archers, and some inscriptions. That's actually looking really good. Here's his infantry set. This is using, looks like the 2-piece bonus. Actually, 4-piece bonus for the infantry gear. And he's also got the coin on there, which is interesting. The shield synergy on Sargon. I think that makes sense. 4.1, 5.5, 7. And then a couple inscriptions. That's attack, defense, and health. We can look at his Jadwiga. His Jadwiga, actually has the, that's the silent trial on there. Okay. And the stats, 6%, 7.6%, and 2.2 march speed. No all damage. It's kind of interesting with armaments. you can typically make like a bunch of sets that are pretty close to the same level of power. It's hard to get like disproportionately insane armaments. Anyways, cavalry set is looking really good here. Everything is iconic except for the ring. This is 2.8, 6.2, 5.4, 0.7 all damage, and fit, which I think is 2.5 health. Definitely nice to get some health on XY. Then the Cyrus gear. Now, he's got his war drums on his Cyrus, which I think is an interesting play because Cyrus really wants you to generate rage. So he's using his Cyrus in part to help generate rage also for the rest of his team. He's got 3.9, 4.1, and 1.6. I actually said those out of order there. And then 3 different inscriptions on there. And then his Guan Yu. I mean, almost all iconic except for the accessories. And then if we look at the armaments, 5.5, 5.7, 4.6 with brutal, which I think is 2.5% attack. Oh yeah, and then Nebu. I mean, it's a lot of sets of equipment. This has got the archer equipment that is mostly non-set gear, 4 pieces that are not set pieces. And then we'll probably get a look here at the armaments. We're looking at 3.5, 5.6, 1.1, 0.5 all damage, enraged, and infamy as the 2 inscriptions on there. So really insane gear. And by the way, Bunny has a total of 52 expertise legendary commanders. Given that he has so many commanders expertise, we'll actually talk about the ones he doesn't have expertise as sort of a focus here. But he's got rallies, he's got garrisons, he's even got Suleiman expertise, which is a bit of a GG. I don't quite understand why there are some commanders that just like aren't good. And I don't know. I mean, hopefully they get a buff at some point, or maybe we just completely underestimate and haven't figured out how to crack some of those commanders like Suleiman. But Bunny's got pretty much anything he wants to use with a few exceptions. No expertise on Pakal, which I think is actually kind of funny. I think that's probably a statement. Also, something you may have noticed is that we haven't seen a couple commanders. Oh, there's Moctezuma. Also not expertise, but is level 42. Yeah, a couple commanders missing here. There's Lubu, Charlemagne, Thutmose, and also, by the way, Yanziska, Flavius, and Tadic are not even unlocked yet. So, really not looking to do the Flavius garrison, the Yanziska garrison, or the Tadic Ibn Ziyad rally, which makes sense. He doesn't have Pakal expertise. Now, Bunny could expertise these commanders if he wanted to, but if you think about what we've got available in 1254, like everybody doesn't have to expertise every commander. Like you can have people that specialize in different things. And so, you know, Bunny doesn't have to go win every Mightiest Governor, although like he probably could if he wanted to. Let's be real here. And a little bit of showmanship here with the Suleiman for the style points. Yikes, big yikes. While Bunny's city themes flash across the screen, be on the lookout for the legendary themes. He has a ton of them, and let me share with you Bunny's story. He says he's always been an avid gamer. The majority of his time was spent playing World of Warcraft growing up. I mean, yeah, you could spend a lot of time doing that. After that, he sank about 6,000 hours into Dota 2 and a lot of time into Street Fighter 5, which he played at a professional level. He found Rise of Kingdoms randomly on the App Store, and it caught his eye because of the strategy aspect and the historical figures. He said he never felt too strongly about it. It was just, you know, a whatever type of game that he would have up at work to play between trades. And then he met a bunch of great people, and the rock bug bit before KVK won when they had a large civil war, and it was all or nothing. Dude, civil wars are nuts. Here he is a few years later, hooked like a crack addict, his words, and a few words I didn't include. Through the highest highs and the lowest lows, this game has become a part of his day-to-day life. He met a ton of great people, many of which he had the pleasure of traveling and meeting up with and partying with. He said it many times, this game is carried by its community, which is very much keeping it alive, and I definitely agree. The game has really solid core mechanics, and those core mechanics plus community really carry the game in my estimation. As for goals, he says he can't say he has many of them apart from account building. His spending pattern is continuing as usual, and the closest thing I have to a personal goal would be to be at the cutting edge of armaments until I have the best in the game across all marches. Sheesh. If I had to specify a broader goal, I would say I want to restore the game to its former glory, where people didn't care about hoarding power, reputation, and stars. This is the worst game in the world if you play it conserving your troops, and I would agree. It is too expensive and time-consuming to have 3 days of fun every few months. This was never the case long ago. Wars lasted longer, people fought harder, and everyone was having more fun. People have become far too economical and defeatist in their mindset, and it's destroying the game. People no longer think of going all in against the odds, and instead will throw in the towel and conserve for future KVKs. While it makes a lot of sense, this mindset has become increasingly common among non-Imperiums and Imperium kingdoms alike, and in Bunny's opinion, that is what kills the game. It's both a player problem and a design problem, but we as players can solve this by creating interesting KVKs that are a bloodbath. And I mean, like, you could just look to our last KVK and see that this is absolutely the case. Just look at the 1960 versus 365 KVK, where they're fighting all day, every day, and you can see that that style of gameplay is actually super fun. And I get that not everybody can sustain that amount of insanity, but that KVK is not average. And it would be nice if more KVKs by design were actually crazy bloodbaths. And you know, I think one way you could sort of design your way out of people dodging fights is to not only give back some troops, but you give back speed ups and resources. And all of a sudden, you'd have more people fighting for longer in KVKs, and everybody will be having a lot of fun. Now, at this point, you may be wondering, whoa, Chisgule, wait a minute. What marches does Bunny actually use in the field? Like, what combinations? Like, he has access to whatever commanders he wants. What's he going to use? And here is what he says he likes to run. He likes to run XY with William. He likes to run Nevsky with Joan. For his infantry, he likes to run Guan with Alex, Sargon with Skippy. For his archers, he likes to run Boudica with Artemisia, Nebu with Esong, and Cyrus with Honda. And that Cyrus-Honda combo is really interesting. There's a number of reasons why that combo works, but given that Cyrus has so many damage factors, Honda bringing more troops and a bunch of march speed and also damage mitigation is a part of why that Cyrus-Honda combo works really, really well. Now, you could, of course, put Henry pretty much anywhere in that lineup of archers, and I think it would actually do really well. And if you were swarming garrisons, swapping in the Henry would make a ton of sense. But this is his field lineup. I'm sure he's got his special teams that he uses to swarm flags when he wants to absolutely punish. The other thing you might have noticed about that list is that Trajan isn't in there, but Bunny said that the Cyrus-Honda combo is also interchangeable with his Trajan Ethel if it's a big murder ball situation. The reason being that Trajan needs continuous combat to be fully utilized, and there's better commanders to bring for short engagements, which makes a ton of sense. Now, depending on what kind of KVK you're in, and what kind of fight you're walking into, you either run Trajan in your starting lineup, or you could run kind of like Bunny is, just go with the 7 damage marches as opposed to having that support march. You'll notice that even Bunny is saying, in his own words, his Trajan combo would be Trajan Ethel, which like, I'll keep saying it, but like end game players with access to whatever they want still understand that Ethelflaed is really good in a big group fight, and that Trajan Ethel combo really does work. Now that we've looked at everything in Bunny's account, I mean, it's pretty damn insane. And although I didn't ask Bunny which thing he's most proud of from his account, I would bet you he would point to his dead troop count and say that's it. 211 million dead T5 mostly troops. That's probably the thing. Although I could ask later and see that. I think that's probably a safe bet. If you want to see a couple other account reviews that are really insane, then check out 2 cards that'll be in the end screen in just a second. One is for Yoda 808, the strongest player by power in the game, who's now in my kingdom, in my alliance, by the way, in 1254. And also you can check out Saz's account, which is probably the strongest cavalry account in the game. Certainly the strongest cavalry account than I have ever looked at. With 7 marches they can field of cavalry. Wow.